Are you here for an agenda?
It's gonna be so much different than all these other events.
Is it the one with the letter? Yeah, perfect. And could you send us that letter?
Already pulling from the constituents that
Perfect. Is
are
it in the
like
supporting
web
docs or
based.
no? Do you know? When you click on the agenda, is it
Whenever
on there?
like meeting new people.
See, I was just told that it was there and I believed it.
Yeah. Probably not good at that. That's great. Are you gonna be reading the
Hey,
letter?
Bernard.
No, you're just gonna be talking about it?
CHNC meeting.
I'm just gonna say what I said.
Yeah, that works.
Hey, Gansha. We're with our buddies.
I don't know that you did, but I do know that you did.
Oh, you can.
But I know.
Right at the, I was just like leaving Costco. I gotta.
I'm hoping. Think it's going to be a long meeting or a quick meeting tonight?
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
I think it would be very like, rub up things with the girl and then like,
Oh, okay, so I don't have a lot of. Okay, I didn't really look at the agenda.
And Lily too.
Yes.
I know. I'll probably leave early.
well, it's all content.
Hey guys. I just care. I just want my political. I hope there's representatives and do my blah blah blah.
We want to make LA's own Department of Government.
Yeah.
It would be really great.
What, I would love some efficiency here, but that's asking for too much with LA. Boy, the stuff I'm finding out by actually going hands-on down there.
You know the first thing we're gonna have to cut is the neighborhood council system.
Well, you guys are more professional. I mean, really, like the neighborhood council system is more professional, even though they're the, like, supposedly just the volunteers. They may not know all the structure, all the rules and this and that, but as far as like how they conduct themselves with the public, way better. You go down there, it's like a circus. It's so crazy. They don't even listen and they're rude and they're just, they're obnoxious.
That's a wonder, huh?
Yeah, you should go down there.
You get elected if that's how you show up.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't, and they get in there, so you call them out on it, which is what you have to do. But you should come down there. You guys, everyone should go down there and just check it out one day. Yeah.
You're down there, and I thank you for that because I tune in and I peep it out, and I'm like, okay, what's going down at the
These people are bonkers. Hi, Slow White.
City Hall today, huh?
Yeah, it's.
What's up, Slow White?
Well, sir.
Is there a police meeting tomorrow? Is it gonna continue? Do you know?
What's that?
The police meeting, the police commission meeting?
I don't know. I'm not typically involved in those.
Okay,
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear you.
let's find out.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all like sunshine. I know. I said Gonzo. I said everyone fangirls over sunshine. Oh, hey, Kara. Oh, thank you. You might have to put me on point with the agenda, although I may not stay for the entire. Hey, Kirby's mom. Did you see the sort of MTV? No, I did not. I'll have to check that out later. Is MD Media did that? Yeah, no, I didn't. I saw the thing about them like doing music. I do want to tell you, at the red line here, there's a guy sleeping in one of the elevators, and no one wanted to come deal with him. But I think he's just sleeping and not injured, but it's making it so hard for anyone because then when it's down there, you can't call the other elevator to get out, and you can't walk over him. He's just like sprawled out.
The Western Hollywood or the Hollywood Vine?
Hollywood and Vine.
Oh, sorry, Hollywood Vine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, just in case. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
They're supposed to. I don't work the MTA shifts,
Exactly.
but they're supposed to check that stuff anyway. So hopefully by now it's already been addressed.
Hope so.
You can always put in. I mean, it's a non-emergency
Yeah,
call,
well, I just
so you
can't
can always
wait to
put that in for.
Yeah, it was like an hour.
Especially if they're obstructing the elevator.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, it's. That's, I get it. He's probably trying to get out of the rain or
The
whatever,
element.
but
Yeah.
There's other ways to do it. You can't just take up an elevator.
I know. And first I'll let you know in case something did happen to him or something. He was breathing and stuff. But.
There should be, because there's a layer 2 of MTA security and their own that should be able to take care of that quicker than the police anyway.
Okay,
But-
makes sense. But it's LAPD, but it'd be a different like Metro.
So Metro, yeah, because it's all contract through them, so they have their own security teams. I would assume that there's more of them, and then LAPD gets called obviously if they can't deal with something. But whichever one comes across it first, obviously can handle it.
Seems like they neglect the this stop for, like, because I ride all up and down. Seems like there's not a lot of police, even Metro regardless, on, you guys get,
Right here,
It's
so
not
I
enough.
think
It's not enough.
yeah, no, they rip you guys
That's
off.
pretty much the comment we hear across the board.
exactly how I feel.
Oh, that's
True.
Well, that's how I
Need to
feel.
get on Donnie
I don't know
Graham
how
for
many
that.
units they have assigned, but you'll get assigned the red line, so they'll ride the train.
No, they don't even ride the trains.
Well, they do, but it's not one on each train, you know what I mean?
Right, it
It's not
should
like-
be, yeah.
That would be the
But I
idea.
rarely see any officers on the trains. I always see them,
No.
to be honest, at the end where they want to see if you or have your card or not. Like they'll have 12, on one end or the other, and it's like, to see if you have your card.
So I think they do have to get off, check
Well,
platforms,
I
check,
mean, you
push
are,
out
Yeah.
above,
like, you're known.
get back on, move to the next one. So
But I rarely ever see, and I drive them all.
the coverage is not, clearly not enough.
Yeah, and they're rarely ever on the train. I'm just being honest, I ride it all the time. Hey guys, I just read the secret.
Oh, yeah, so you have a CD13.
So you're like, it's.
Oh yeah, that was a good dig.
So.
Hey Antics. I was like, yeah, we're up to seeing our friends here. But guys, I want to test something out. Like I want to see if this other little microphone, I got a better microphone. I just don't know how to use it yet. But I want to see if this works. Hold on.
You absolutely could. Oh my god, yes. Yeah, you're involved in that.
Hey guys, can you hear me good now? Hey Phyllis. I want to see if you can hear them because I know we always have a hard time hearing them. But I want to test Sunshine. Sunshine, can you say something? I want to see if this works better.
Say what's up? Oh, we got a mic? Oh, we in the game.
Yeah, I have a better one comment, but can you hear them?
Those are good ones. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it works.
Okay, can you hear him good?
Greetings, my fellow human beings.
So you can't hear him good?
How you doing, man? You ever go on YouTube?
Okay.
Try not to? Try not. Dude,
All right, then I might just have to do it like this.
have you ever follow
I haven't-
AuditLA's page?
No, he does.
She's over there at the basically every meeting.
Yeah.
Every neighborhood council
You know, every city meeting.
Oh,
Every last one.
So the city
In City
city
Hall.
council meeting.
And the police and all of them, yep.
Police commission is at Parker.
At headquarters, yeah. They would never follow with, like, but I give you a good compliment. I actually give you, more props, because like, with the neighborhood system, I say this and I'll keep saying it. And like, you come and do I appreciate you for that, I do. Like, we may not always agree on everything, but on that, I think you're stellar.
Which other ones do you attend?
East Hollywood, they never get any senior lead officer there, even though you guys cover them, but there's 4,
So is Doug Haynes still there?
yeah,
Oh, he's the president?
no,
So they-
no, Chris Martinez is the president. Hey, guys.
He was usually like the plum chair, usually.
That's right.
They,
That's right. Yeah.
we used to,
That's good that he's coming over.
we used to attend, and it usually goes by your area, so so Central Hollywood covers a couple different slows. The majority of it does fall in the entertainment district, which is why,
Yeah, but you come to these meetings, and I give you props for that.
thank you, and I appreciate that. The other thing was too, and there aren't as many now, but there used to be a lot of conditional use permits for alcohol requests. They used to they'd all come through the neighborhood councils, and those are,
It seems like they're not anymore.
there aren't as many places opening up. Tough times out there. But the thing is when they go to their public hearing, which they have, they always ask, did you reach out to the neighborhood council for their support? And they'll ask, did you reach out to the police? So usually when I would come to these, one, you hear all the neighborhood things, two, you would pick up, you meet a lot of people right there, their land use reps, the projects, so you could start to get an idea of what they're trying to do, whether it's something we should, have issue with or not.
You're a spy?
What's that?
You're a spy?
They should have issues with them.
No, you would meet them, and then lots of times out where you make a connection, where then you start understanding, okay, so you're asking for a restaurant, or are you asking for a restaurant, are you asking for a bar? What do
Oh,
you
you're
think?
looking for a restaurant.
Well, because a lot of these ones in Hollywood used to be
It's time I.
restaurants that were, it's like they only opened up at 9 PM though, and so they were de facto nightclubs. Like, yeah, we sell food, but nobody orders it, but we have a kitchen.
Oh, got it. I
So like,
don't.
I know,
things like
it's
that. So then you start looking, okay, well, what additional entitlements?
You can't hear him, right?
They want for, you know,
Yeah, I
they want to have games, they want to have all, and what's that gonna be the impact?
Yeah,
on
like
the
they set up
neighborhood? So those are the things you start.
I do have a better mic coming. I mean, I have the actual mic. I just don't know how to do the game, like set it up yet. So it's coming.
The next thing was, and so here's so then, one, you know, have a line of communication.
I don't know who that was.
And then later on down the road, you know, all this time we've, you know, met each other or been involved. So then, you know, 2 years down the road, when, you know, you're noticing some problem of over-service or loud noise or whatever, instead of, you're just randomly like, now you call, they call the owner,
Hey, Danny.
you're not talking to some manager or some assistant employee who doesn't, you call the owner, hey, this is an issue, can you fix this before it even becomes even further?
What I'm hearing
Just
is
chatting.
That's leadership, because leadership is measured in influence, and influence is the way we decide whether or not we're succeeding in leadership.
Yeah, that's,
It's like ideally we'll have like a connection between the department and the high school in a way where the young people can be like, man, I want to be a cadet because I didn't really be a hero, I really made an impact. Like, you know, Officer White like saying this the other day, and you know, this guy got like that's really what we need to create in our community. So
and
that's
it's,
what's happening
and
here.
it's community policing, it's, instead of just, you know, just problem enforcement, you can actually have that work effect.
I think we should rebrand that. So community policing, even though I know it means.
They called it, what is this thing they call it?
Just policing in general is like such a overseer, like with a whip.
Yeah.
Vibe. When I look at it, I mean, I get the authority. It's like the badge gets the authority by the will of the people because.
Hey, guys.
You know, yeah, really.
But, yeah, but then, huh? Yeah.
So this one is very active. So Hollywood Hills West Neighborhood Council, they cover the west portion of the hills from pretty much, I believe it's like Fuega to Laurel. They're very active. They usually invite us.
I can never get into any of their meetings. Like, they never have a meeting, it seems.
So again, some of these have died out, like Hollywood at one point couldn't make a quorum, this is a couple years ago, and we stopped, so we had that point of.
But they have quorum, they have a full
So
board.
They're back on now, but.
Well, I've been on them for that too, because if they don't, the people want to talk to their police department, whether they love you or hate you.
We've had some where they're like, we don't particularly want you to.
Was that East Hollywood? Because I could see that being their vibe sometimes.
That's happened, and it ebbs and flows too, so it can, you know, boards can change out, or certain members can change out, and that can change too,
I feel
so.
like Miley when she gets off.
You know, an email or an extension, if they, especially if they're asking, we try to make it,
That's
especially if
exactly
it's
how I
relevant to some, you know, something we can.
Well, they're like, well, I know, they said, well, we go to the CPEP, so I said, no, it's not. The community has a right to be able to come to their community and talk to their senior lead officers.
CPAP's different, like it's not.
Right, it's not open to the public, but I'm gonna go
Or, but it's.
until
it's different,
Janet's
like,
off.
There isn't as much, it's more like town hall.
Yeah, but your CPAP, no offense, it sucks. And this is why, and I told the captain, no offense, and I was very involved with CPAPs. You guys, like, the other CPAPs, like, it's not like where they don't ask, oh, does the SLOs have a report? Every SLO gives their report, because there's always something going on in each division, whether it's, you know, they give their stats and numbers. They don't do that. It seems like they're in a rush to just, oh, let's get out of here, you know, and so that's the thing I had an issue with yours, and the fact that Janet is on there.
Is she actually a board member?
How do I find that? I would like to find out, because I'm like pushing I want the chief to kick them, and so, because they have so many, like, the city now has so many ordinances for them to remove all those, you know, I know it's not your area, the planters and all the AD stuff, I don't know if you've heard all this, the hoopla about that.
Permit stuff. They need the sidewalk
Yeah, well, they have 250 planners that are not, there's no permits for it, and they're not ADA compatible. Their own people, with the, with the walking canes and stuff, they can't barely get through. And also they have all these thorny rose bushes that dogs are getting caught on, and they've been ordered to remove them. They've doubled down, made them even closer, planted flowers in them, and just all this other permit stuff. And so they're horrible neighbors to the community, and they shouldn't be on any CPAB. Plus, they have a case against them, or I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sorry, my people just want to hear what you have to say anyway. And they can't hear, and they also have a, what do you call it? I don't know, I lost that brain thought. But there's just so much going on with them that, and the city's ordered them to change it, to fix it, and they just refuse to. So how can, if they're not abiding by the laws of the city, listening to the mandates, it's to the point where it's been referred to city attorney, how can they sit on a CPAB and advise the police?
I like anything else, so an organization, you know, the individuals probably get screened individually, not as an organization.
Yes, and I know this because in North Hollywood too, they represent themselves as Scientology. They are not there as individuals because they are there only on the behalf of, that's their job. Like I was told that by one of them, that's their job to do that. Oh, and I know they're in they have 2 lawsuits against one here in LA for child bride. Okay.
All right, it
Yes.
is 6:16, and
Hey, guys.
we're gonna start the forums. I am present, Daniel Perez is absent, Charles is absent, Nye is absent, Sean is not currently here, which says she's on the way. Sunshine?
Present.
Tamara? Here. Daniel? And Crystal says she's on the way. So we do have a forum, but we're gonna go start starting with government representatives so that we don't need a forum in the beginning. You wanna go first, Josh?
Yes.
Come on up. So if you stand right here, then we can.
Ooh, they don't have quorum?
That row low on.
Good evening. Right here?
Perfect.
Good evening, everybody. Joshua and Nora, Hollywood Field Representative for Assembly Member Rick Chavez of Burr. Just have a few quick updates. So, the Assembly Member had a very busy post-session following the end of the regular legislative session. As you know, the governor called the legislature into special session last month to prevent price spikes at the pump. This legislation, which would allow the state to require oil refiners to maintain a minimum inventory of fuel to avoid supply shortages, did pass the legislature and was signed by the governor. Following the election, the governor is reconvening the legislature into emergency special session again next month in the face of the incoming administration. The special session will focus on bolstering California legal resources, in particular to protect civil rights, reproductive freedom, climate action, and immigrant families. And then, as the Assembly Member continues to work on his legislative package for the next regular session in January, last month he stood with Governor Newsom and other legislative colleagues to announce a concerted effort to expand the California film tax credit. The governor has proposed expanding it to $750 million a year, and as Hollywood's Assembly Member, some members of her strongly supports this to help keep this industry here in California and has made it one of his top priorities for the new year. And then finally, remember the fire under the 10 freeway last year? So earlier this month, Caltrans has released new policies, changes to their airspace lease program, which is that space under freeways for properties under, over, and next to state highway structures. These changes will help protect the public and the state's infrastructure, and some of these include, and I'll forward the full list to help spread to the rest of the board and colleagues. But some of the new changes include ending open storage leases, increasing liability insurance coverage, barring the construction of new permanent buildings, and prohibiting flammable materials. And then finally, I have here and available for anybody that wants them, but for the board members, we have, now that the Assembly has completed his first term in the legislature, we have a little legislative accomplishments recap for review. So that's it for my updates. Thanks. Yes, exactly.
Hey, got this in the mail.
Oh, did you?
Think so.
Thank you.
Any questions for the Assembly Member's office? Yes? Oh,
Aye.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
I'm
the
sorry.
board first.
I didn't hear you.
Huh?
Someone else? The Assembly Member?
Send them my love.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you were reading about the,
whatever's going like to, the new laws about fires around freeways, and you said barring new building construction? What was
It
that part?
said, I said, barring the construction of new permanent buildings under, over, or next to state highway structures.
So
The
that
policies.
section would be like exempt. Is that what that means?
Exempt as in like,
Like it wouldn't apply to areas under construction?
I believe so, yeah. So for the new ones, this case came out November 8th, so I think anything post that is when these will be implemented.
Gotcha, thank you.
So I wanted to ask actually about Assemblyman Bartley. What is his stance for or against reducing the amount of legislation here in the state of California?
I haven't asked him, but I can relay any comment.
Yeah, as you know, there's a lot of stuff that talk on the national and federal level, right, about just overall making government more efficient. And I would say that California is one of those few states that has quite a bit of legislation around things, some of which don't even need legislation for anymore, right? And so it'd be really great to see, at least from our perspective, talking to like the people in the street and stuff like that, about reducing some of the legislation that's out there right now, specifically to make things easier for businesses, for schools, for the people that, you know, are living day to day in Central Hollywood. You know, I think there's a lot of, the way I read this is it's almost like we get points for the amount of legislation we create, but what I don't see is the opposite of it. And what I have noticed is that especially when it comes to things like crime here, there's so many different rules in place that the police officers themselves, they don't know which ones to follow, right? And so you get one direction from the state level, you get another direction from the local level, another direction from another office somewhere else, right? And just generally speaking, it's becoming harder and harder, and I'm sure that Slow White can bring his feedback on it too. But I think it's getting harder and harder to enforce certain crimes. And I'll tell you, even my own neighborhood, I do live here in Central Hollywood, but last week, we had a fire breakout, and there was an arsonist running around Central Hollywood, and this is the same day of the battery fire at the AutoZone, but there was an arsonist running around, and literally lighting fire to things, right? And in the alley behind my backyard, there was 2 separate fires, evacuation of the homes there, people couldn't go to work and make money, kids couldn't go to school, right? And, you know, upon hearing the conversations amongst the arson investigators, they even knew who the person was, and they still can't get it. And so I think,
Did they mention like what the California laws that were like prohibiting them from enforcing that was?
I don't know specifically, you know, I'm not a professional on this kind of legislation, but I'm just bringing this as a highlight of knowing that there are conflicting pieces of legislation nowadays that make it harder and harder to enforce safety concerns.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think in fact the assembly member recognizes that with his retail crime package that he recently helped spearhead. There's language specifically in there to help, for example, district attorneys work across jurisdiction, in this case, county jurisdictions, so that you can prosecute with same retail crime groups that are, you know, committing crime in LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, and how you can aggregate those and work together that way and clear it up in that way. So, in that sense, I think there is some understanding of like how to make it easier and more thorough in the process on that particular thing. However, if you hear of any other like discussions where there are like legal implications because too many laws are conflicting with one another, anything like that, like definitely like.
I actually have a crazy example of what he's talking about. I never thought assembly bills would impact my business as much as it wasn't Sabor, it was another person that I guess, another member who booked a safari trip, and then a couple of people on his trip canceled, and he was not able to get his money back, and so he, back in California, created a new law that if you make a reservation for a hotel, you can actually cancel within like 24, 48 hours for like buyer's remorse or some sort of travel change, and you get 100% refund on that. And once again, like that was never really the standard for like Booking.com or Hotels.com, and so now all these hotels are losing all this revenue that we've had for like decades upon decades because, like I said, buyer's remorse, or they get a flat tire, because the business still keeps that vacant room or that vacant bed, and the customer just gets up, they pull money back, because they changed the parts. So I've never seen Assembly bill overreach so far.
Yeah.
And then, luckily, there's a union for hotels, they stopped this Assembly member going even further, that if you're in California making a booking for, let's say, a New York hotel, you too can get your money back. Luckily, it doesn't overreach across state lines, it's only in California for everybody, but yeah, that was a very overreaching.
Is it still in place?
Yes,
That
unfortunately,
law?
it's very difficult, because again, small business, again, you rely on, okay, this is how many rooms are being booked today, or how many beds are being booked today, and then it doesn't matter, you can get all that taken away by someone's, change in plans or flat tire, and, it's great for the customer, right, but for the business that has, staff to pay and overhead, it's like the craziest Assembly bill, and it's an example of
Right,
overreaching, so I've never seen those words more truer than this, for business.
Yeah, no, thank you for flagging.
And I would also point out that it seems like a lot of these are very I wouldn't say the bills themselves are self-serving, right? Because they have to justify it serves a lot of people and stuff like that. But the prioritization of which bills to go after first is very self-serving, right? And it doesn't have to be self in terms of that, but it can be friends, right? That can't get their trips canceled or whatever else. Or retail crime, which is, yeah, of course, you have huge taxpayers, large businesses that are getting their goods stolen, but the criminals are typically not coming into a small business, right, and going out and stealing. And this organized retail crime somehow affects, larger and larger businesses, which again, this is all great. There's no problem with trying to prevent crime. There's no pushback on it. But where is the win for the little guy here here living in Central Hollywood, that none of these things benefit them, and more it's becoming harder and harder for them to just, make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, I totally take that. I think it's a point well taken. I think, but the matter with the retail crime, however, I think it affects not just the big businesses. I mean, we're talking about the workers who work in these stores as well. We're talking about the everyday folks who go to their Target, or the folks who are waiting to get laundry detergent because everything is locked up at the local CVS. I do think that there is a trickle down effect that does matter. And this general idea of public safety in our city, which I think was we live in the hardest hit in California during that summer in particular with the
Hey guys,
crime
you
there.
you're
But I
funny,
think
that's-
still a point well taken about how we can continue to focus on what laws get prioritized, and are there conflicts, or is it too many, because then it adds bureaucracy, and there's that national conversation about how to make things more efficient. All definitely points well taken. I just don't have a particular stance on the yes or no on your yes or no question at the beginning.
Do you think that Rick would be able, I think he came here a few months ago, I think he's planning to make another trip here?
He is. He visited every neighborhood council in the district, and definitely wants to continue to.
But I think he's not feeling so well right now.
Oh, well, right now, no.
Yeah.
No, he is recovering from
just-
surgery.
Yeah, he just had surgery.
Yeah, but that's how he has spent his time. Last fall during recess, and this fall during recess, finished the other neighborhood councils, because then the majority of his year is spent up in Sacramento, only here on weekends. But he has we're proud that he has visited every neighborhood council in the district and engaged in taking questions.
Any other board questions? If not, we'll go. Okay.
I just have one question, actually, because you guys panel on business. What's the talk, are they, just what's going on with the cannabis excise tax? Do you know what's happening with that? You guys? No, okay. I'm just curious about that. That's going crazy.
Okey-dokey. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, well, I have two quick questions. I don't know if you're aware that in LA, there's a court case from a victim that grew up in Scientology, who she claims was forced to marry as a child bride to an elder man. And that's an active case right now. And so I'm trying to see if there's going to be any kind of statewide approach to trying to rid child brides. That should be eliminated. And here in California, you can get married very young. All you need is your parents' permission. And with the way things are today digitally, maybe that could be forged or faked. And there really needs to be legislation to just end. There's other states that are jumping on that bandwagon to end child brides, and countries, I'd say, too. So I would ask if you could please put that before him to please just end it across the board. And the other one I'm concerned about is, okay, and I'm sorry, I'm, I'm going to mostly be talking about Scientology because these are the issues I'm concerned with right now. They are working on, they have a permit to fix their street. Now, when you're with Scientology and you're a Sea Org, you're making $47 a week for about 100 hours of work, which I guess, legally they're allowed to do that if that's within what they're doing on their property. But once a person touches a street, okay, that the laws change. The laws then require that the workers have to be paid full wages. They are not. And so is there any kind of enforcement? Like, who do you even go to enforce that? Because I am there, like, to stand up for the entertainment industry did finally get to force Scientology to where they make the Sea Org members pay, they have to pay them full wages when they are filming in their, because it's union filming. They have a lot of filming things that they do. But on the streets, they're not. And it's not fair that this organization gets to say, well, we're going to send our workers to work on the street because we have the permit, but they're not being paid full wages. It's not fair to the workers. I want to hear and stand up for the workers. So I want to put both of those in your lap. Thank you.
Anybody else in person? Online?
Okay, we have a 424 phone number. If you want to go ahead, but you have to unmute actually.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. My name is Andrea Wilson. I've emailed your president, Ms. Beck, on 3 different occasions for a request to be on your agenda. But I've never gotten a response, and so I thought I'd just call in today and request that I be placed on the upcoming agenda. I'm the executive director of a artist-based nonprofit organization, and my presentation is to certainly talk about the benefits of art beautification projects. Because I'll announce it if you are. I've identified funding for those projects, so I'm not asking the board for a grant or anything like that. The funding is at the Department of Cultural Affairs, and it's through the 1% Art Development Fee. So I'd like to talk about how to access those funds. That's in your, I don't think it's anything to do with Scientology. 13. So that's it.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm not really sure. Did you send another email? I don't recall, but I'm happy to put you on the agenda. Did you send another email?
Yes. Now the email that I sent, I got from your neighborhood council website, and it's ELVINA@CHNC.org.
Yeah, that's accurate. Maybe it was spam or something. Maybe you could try again and I'll take a look.
Okay, so what I'll do is just resend it right now because I'm looking at it.
Okay. Alrighty.
Let's see if you can,
Okay, sounds
if
good.
you get it.
Yeah, we just have a field rep, but I will take a look and respond if you send it. Alright, thank you. Let's go to the other caller? Sorry, Josh, that wasn't specifically related to you.
Mona?
Hello, council members. Yes, I do have a question. Several of us had submitted to the assembly members a proposed new legislation for the Obolenski law. And if you would like, you could probably get the assembly member's name from AuditLA, who happens to be there. But we haven't heard anything back. And I'm wondering if you could take that to your assembly member to ask if there has been word about that and where we could go with that, or maybe at your assembly, because the person that it is dedicated to, the law is from the test center area where he was homeless for so long. So for further information, please maybe sit next to AuditLA, and she can help you and guide you on the rest of the details. I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The only thing I'll say is I know our ledge team in Sacramento is reviewing all legislative related inquiries and matters, so I can follow up with that sense. And I'll look for specific names to get an update.
Thank you, sir.
Miracles.
I was gonna ask about if there was any headway on, the rent control situation. I saw things being advertised that there's been protests about getting affordable housing down to 2%.
That's a good question. I haven't heard anything on that, but like in terms of our office's like
Yeah.
position on that, but that is a good question.
Yeah, they're getting all.
Because
these
he's in
houses,
chat.
all these
Right,
advertisements,
right.
and pricing people out.
That's right,
and
yeah.
I'm tired of seeing my neighbors getting.
He's saying hi.
Any other questions or comments? Thanks, Josh.
Okay, other than that, good to see you all and enjoy your holidays.
Okay, cool. I
Thank
know
you.
Wendy's online. Did you wanna speak on CB 13?
Hi,
Sounds as our favorite.
sorry, I am driving.
Oh, did you want us to come back to you?
I'm almost gonna be at my destination like in 10 minutes, if that's okay.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll come back. We're gonna do someone here first then.
Thank you.
No, Henry went back home.
So, I'll give you off there. Sure. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. Officer Brian White, Senior Lead for the Hollywood Entertainment District area. The biggest, probably, point of news we have is from the election, we had the passing of Prop 36. That's probably going to be the most thing we've been asked about most recently. And in a nutshell, it's taking some things that were rolled back about 10 years ago, mostly with retail theft and drug use. So the idea is where currently, so the big one was, and without getting into too much history, the previous way you used to work with theft was if you were convicted of, let's say, a petty theft, and you continued to rack up other convictions, those could be escalated to felonies. And it was a way of kind of curtailing retail theft. And when that went away in 2014, we started seeing slow increases, in which I think culminated in what we've all been dealing with this past year or two with, and especially speaking with our retail partners where they have chronic offenders. Every day I go in, Marshalls, all these places, Target, people go in, steal a certain amount, and just leave. And they can be caught, they can be cited and prosecuted, but because it stays at that misdemeanor level, it never actually results in any jail time, and it never stops the behavior. So with this Prop 36 rollback, the idea is after 2 convictions, now a third one can be escalated to a felony, where now you're actually having the potential to serve prison time, and more than a year's amount of time. So the idea being is for that person, I think that's maybe, makes mistakes or down their luck, or whatever happens, you can screw up and still kind of get into the system and probably get some diversion, things like that. But if you're that person that's going to just basically saying, I don't care, and I'm not going to comply, I'm not going to follow the rules, and continue to steal these things, which does hurt all of us, whether it's the employees and the shoppers that are all paying higher prices for things. It does give something to actually correct that behavior and remove them from the situation. So I think that's pretty huge. It also applies to drug use too, where now, if after 2 convictions, my understanding of the way this is written, after two convictions of drug possession, and you're basically given, you have to take treatment. And because as of right now, you can go into, let's say you get a misdemeanor drug possession of methamphetamine or fentanyl. You go to court, they'll offer you, would you like to take diversion with drug treatment, or you can take this misdemeanor to trial. A lot of them are saying, I'll take the misdemeanor conviction right now. I know that's not gonna actually result in any time at county jail due to the overcrowding. So it's basically convicted but released. So there is no real incentive to take that diversion with treatment. So you kind of see where probably what was a good idea in the original legislation kind of ended up backfiring because it took away the incentive to seek treatment. So now, after 2 convictions, on that 3rd one, you're given that you have to take treatment. If you refuse it or you fail to complete it, again, you're facing potential felony charges. So it's adding incentive to take the treatment that we're all hoping people would take. So I think these things can have both these are related because I think a lot of the chronic people that we were dealing with on a daily basis are also cross-sectioning with this drug addiction and abuse. So I think this can be a big thing to help solve some of these problems. One thing we are seeing though is it seems to be that with word getting out that this is coming to these penalties will change in January. Our retail partners have seen quite an uptick right now, and it's like people are trying to get that last bit of theft in before they finally get caught. So it's kind of like that. It's darkest before the dawn. So once we get through that phase, hopefully things will start getting better, and we'll all the quality of life in the CHNC area will be better for everyone.
You look pretty happy about these changes there.
Yeah, I think it's common sense. Like,
Tell us how happy you are. I like it too.
Well, it's just it's really frustrating when you do make an arrest, or
It means nothing.
and the person you can tell as you're going through the motions, like it's just having no effect. And then on the flip side, when I try to walk the foot beat almost daily with my partner over in Hollywood Highland area, and you go through you meet all the all the retailers and the security personnel, and you go in and it's like, oh, today's a good day. We only had like 2 people come in and just take a bunch of coats and bags and take off, and to see like the frustration on the employees' faces, especially. And these are the types of crimes. Your average person isn't going to be involved in a robbery. Probably isn't going to get their house broken into, and probably isn't going to be the victim of a major assault. But a lot of people have seen this shoplifting happening right in front of them, and it adds that sense of lawlessness and instability and like what's going on. This is my neighborhood. Why is it? I don't do that. We all don't do that. Like, why is this person doing this? And it creates a lot of issues. So I think all these things have a huge effect. So.
Once again, I've been a coffee shop in February, and never have I had a front-facing business. There's an individual that comes in, takes salads, takes drinks, walks out, and the staff is too afraid to do anything about it. And it just blows my mind. There are no repercussions. They just quickly come and go, and it's costs.
Correct.
So yeah, until you're kind of faced with it firsthand, you hear these stories, but now I'm like seeing it, like wow, this individual just takes every day whatever he wants, and people are like, I'm not going to deal with it. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to get through too. So hopefully things will get better shortly in December or in January.
I have a question. So let's take Marshall's, for example, since that's a place that doesn't have self-checkout, and it doesn't, it's not as likely to be a homeless person picking up like deodorant or whatever. Who are you largely seeing stealing from Marshall's?
Well, we are seeing, it's still, the majority of it is homeless population. And this is also strange, because it's not necessarily the homeless population here local. Oh, it is sometimes, but you have, and they call it, everyone focuses on organized retail theft in the sense of the mob comes in, smashes everything, overwhelms the store, and takes a bunch of stuff, and that's what we think of for organized retail theft. But what we're seeing is more the lower level person where they're stealing things every day that they're going and then reselling to like vendors and part of the product. That's a big one. So it's still going to be the majority of it seems to be like your typical like drug user and homeless type population is typically what we're seeing. Again, like chronically daily type.
So we're at the point now that it's like Hollywood Boulevard. And I feel like I'm talking this up every single month, but basically, I don't know. It's kind of a disgrace, to be honest with you. Like in terms of like Hollywood is the epicenter of tourism industry here. Well, I don't know. It's the crime. What's the biggest disgrace I think is that it's perfectly okay to commit these crimes. Basically, right? Like it's felt by the offender that there's no repercussions, there's no nothing, there's nothing going on. you can't do anything about it, and it's just the reality. And I think because of that, Hollywood Boulevard is boarded up, right? Like, I don't know, it seems like 30–40% of the buildings over there is just completely boarded up, they don't even wanna have a tenant there. Insurance companies probably don't even want somebody to move it, like, won't give insurance or will over penalize somebody to move in there because of what's going on. How come, from your guys' discussions at the LAPD level, right, like, I don't know what those meetings are, and, you know, what they look like and stuff like that. What is there, like, Miami, for instance, I was there like a few months ago. There's, I don't even know if there's an officer in there or not, every single corner police car, right? Like, in the middle of the intersection, police cars, sirens on, until they get the stuff out of it. How do those conversations go internally?
It's always a matter of resources and where you're putting them. So, and you're correct, that is a problem that Hollywood Boulevard does have. And actually, before I forget, real quick, something that I've noticed more recently with some of the nightlife, like the bar grills and whatnot, they're struggling a little bit with like tourism seems to have dropped off pretty significantly. And so whatever you guys, you know, if you're willing to go out to a local spot instead of going, you know, outside further away, please, you know, patronize these businesses and whatnot to the viewers out there. They could use the help with this, you know, lack of tourism. Because you're all right. Like the things that happen on the boulevards do have an effect on why people, you know, get there or won't come to Hollywood. And then it just comes down to resources, where LAPD has always been a leaner department as far as numbers for, you know, the average number of number of people in the city. So we haven't been a police force that's had those kind of resources to be able to set up like on every block or every corner. I've never been to New York, but I understand like there, you know, you can have officers where their beat is just like a city block, and that's, you know, where they stay. So there, I think they used to be like used to be like 30,000 officers, where we're at like, you know, 10,000. We're a stretched out city, and versus a lot of those places are vertical. So these all pose challenges. There at one point, we still have a detail assigned specifically to like the entertainment districts, but it doesn't, we just don't have that kind of resources where we just flood it enough that I would like to. That would be my dream, like to have officers walking on the street and on every block.
Yeah, I would tell you, I think what'll be worse actually is when they start invading your privacy by putting cameras everywhere, and you have license plate recognition cameras, everything there. You as an individual will be far worse when they realize crime rates are so high up, businesses are so down, tourism is so down, and instead of putting more officers and resources that way, they'll just automate it all. Because now you're just a walking target.
Well, the Hollywood Partnership is working on like a new master plan.
That's what I was gonna ask, yeah, if that's been helping or not, because I feel like the Hollywood Partnership does a really great job of kind of keeping, I mean, making me feel safer. I don't know about that.
So which is huge, and that's something.
Are those guys on the bikes and stuff?
Bikes, and they have ambassadors, so they do walk.
I like when they walk.
Like triple that.
The bikes are less effective.
Like,
I think the majority still are on foot,
Yeah.
but you realize they cover from like all the way down to pretty much like Gower, and then they go down on Vine, so they're stretched too, but you see more of them than you actually do the LAPD on the street.
Yeah.
That's probably where you look at, you know, concepts of,
Who are they funded by?
they're funded by the businesses. So each business or property owner pays into, it's, you know, an assessment that they pay into that funds the Hollywood, it's called the Hollywood Partnership, it's a business improvement district type thing. And that's where, those funds are spent. What they did was, the previous model was they had armed security type thing, and they got rid of that contract, went with, and those were only from like, they were basically daytime business hours. So they went with an unarmed, block by block contract, and it uses unarmed, but they're 24/7 now with more guards, so, you do see more presence, and they, honestly, they do a lot. And they keep a lot of calls actually coming, so here's also the other tough part is, there's a lot of calls from the businesses that go directly to the Hollywood Partnership. They have a call center now. So they have a dispatch center. All those calls go into the Hollywood Partnership, and a lot of times they're able to, these are like your typical non-emergency call where it's somebody, you know, trespassing on blocking the doorway, things like that, or acting up. And they actually are taking a lot off of LAPD's plate, but at the same time, those calls that maybe should have been the city's responsibility aren't being tracked. You know what I mean? So which is kind of unfortunate, because in the city, you know, like anything else, if it's not a problem,
So how
they're
do you
not
create a
trying to address it.
partnership with, Hollywood Partnership?
There was talk before, how do we like recap those as actual calls? I don't know how you, maybe, again, that's like, you know, manager.
You ask for an API key.
That's managerial level stuff, maybe they didn't want, I don't know, like, who knows? But, so, to where we were, yeah, I agree with you, it just isn't there, like, you just don't have that.
Well, the chief was saying how you guys are trying to recruit a lot right now.
We are, to as far as, the reality is, we have not been recruiting to attrition for the past several years now, so that's why you see, unfortunately, the trend is the wrong way. If you wanted to bolster the numbers or get them back to what they were, we're still, the budget is there for it, the budget is there for hiring, but there aren't enough qualified applicants to fulfill what they're trying to do.
And everyone that could go on their, retirement, took their retirement.
A lot of people are taking it quicker than they used to, and then a lot are not taking it, so yes.
So there is, you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna ask if they allow part-time positions or if they're all full-time.
It's all full-time.
Deputize me.
So I was
And I
gonna
think-
He
say,
said qualified.
could that be why
Oh,
you
I'm highly qualified.
or?
Possibly, it is a significant amount of training that does go into becoming a certified police officer. And the reality is, once you have that, this is another problem you have, you can take that somewhere else, like you could go to a different
So
agency.
they could get trained here and then go
Which
to a
happens,
different
it
place.
definitely does happen, because the,
LEP probably has a good reputation for training and then, yeah. How are you retaining your officers?
so they look at things like, the mayor and the new chiefs, their whole biggest thing is, right now, they're talking a lot about the discipline system. And there's, I think amongst officers, probably the biggest, point of contention is it felt like, or there's a perception of, there's some double standard, whether it's, you know, if you're working out and you're on the streets, nobody cares about you, and you can get in trouble for everything, versus now you're inside or you're higher up and like, it feels like they get away with everything. So I mean, like, I think that's something that they're trying to work on, how they'll, cause it,
Wow.
obviously you need a, we need a transparent and you need to have a good discipline system. That's important, but at the same time, it needs to be applied equally. And there are some things too where, you know, there are plenty of, we get complaints from the community, and there's plenty of things that are alleged where oftentimes it's pretty clear this is a person that, you know, doesn't have all their capacity or is, you know, budget full. It'd be nice if there was maybe an intermediate way instead of having to go through the whole internal affairs thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're having to schedule interviews and you have to get like a representation and, you know, they read you, a lot of these, they'll read you your rights. Like, you get read your rights, like, so these things all stack up on you.
Oh, it's just, yeah.
So, and then, again, that's not to say that there doesn't need to be one, but maybe it can be one streamlined so that these things can be handled more, you know, when you have the problem, get to it, fix it, and, you know, and discipline the officer the way it needs to be. And then on the flip side, like, you know, streamline the smaller stuff.
Yeah, so for discipline, that's.
Is that what the civilian oversight committees are for, that they're like?
All of, yeah, I mean, all the LAPD policy does still go through the, police commission.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
if you were to look at like rank structure, the LA Police Commission outranks the chief.
Yeah.
So, like, if you look at our chief, he has 4 stars, or if you look at the sheriff, who's an elected official at the top, he has 5 stars. So that's something of, so the chief answers to the police commission. So that's when you say we have civilian oversight.
And if there's a new commissioner, is there a new commissioner?
Chief, different chief.
The new chief, the commission, I think, that some of that stuff I don't know, and I don't wanna, sometimes I always wanna answer every question, like, I like answering questions,
Right.
but if I don't really know, I shouldn't say it.
So, what I heard was that the lower ranking street officers are upset with the higher up, management officers for not sticking to the same rigorous disciplinary, regulations.
There's a perception.
There's a perception. That's exactly how constituents feel. Cause I see a lot of auditors posting on police officers who, for instance, have like tinted windows or some other minor infraction, and it's like, well, how are we supposed to feel if the guys that are supposed to be, like our examples, to which my perspective, on the other hand, is like, look, these guys are putting their life on the line every single day, and they have to deal with some super traumatic stuff. Maybe they should have some sort of privileges. But then let's just make them into a law.
Well,
Exactly.
I think something you brought up
Yes.
interestingly
Yes.
is on some of the things that we have a huge penal code system, we have a huge vehicle code system, to the point of some of it's so big, you can't know it all. And
Similar.
I actually always thought like, why not run some of this stuff through AI and find out, like, there's sections in there that I know have never been used in the past 100 years. Like if you read up the sections for theft, and like grand theft, there's all these subsections, and some have to do like weird.
Chickens?
I mean, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Don't
Where,
steal guys'
like
chickens.
oyster fields, like there's all these little carve outs where at some point, obviously it made something sense to somebody, but maybe that's no longer relevant. And maybe it's still the same thing for regulation. So, there's something to there too, maybe where some of these things can be, look, everyone in LA has tinted windows, and they need to reevaluate, like, is it, how many accidents are happening because of these, how many aren't, I don't know. These are good questions to have.
Well, this is very important because, like, look, we're just on the very ground over here, and you're gonna like talk to other leaders in the department or whatnot. But it's like super duper important that this gets ironed out, so that way you guys have a better perspective and are easier to recruit the champions that we need, the protectors that we need, so that when people get into those positions, we can actually like respect them and enjoy the fact that they're here.
And again, some of that stuff goes back to also public perception where, if you have that, if you're a parent, you have that kid who would be a good applicant, but you're steering them away from it. Or, like I didn't come from a law enforcement family. I had a neighbor that kind of, so like things like that can make a big difference but if it's, how it's perceived and, this is controversial depending on who you talk to.
Basically, so.
The perception of law enforcement does have a huge impact on the quality of candidate that wants to apply.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Cool. Any other questions, from the board? I see. Okay, take 2 minutes.
Yes, I believe that police presence is going to be back in this area because Scientology is opening up their winter wonderland. And so I'm predicting that there's going to be a lot of phone calls against protesters that are not valid because the protesters are peaceful. They're going to remain peaceful, and there's going to be a man with a gun call, and all this nonsense is going to start happening again. And and also, just FYI, they've caught them numerous times having OSHA regulation no-nos, like not obeying OSHA at both locations, dealing with their winter things. And also when it comes to, like, I love what Sunshine was saying, it goes more along the lines of rules for me, not for thee. And he's right. If it's something that officers deserve tinted windows and the people don't, then put it in there. But if it's not in there, then don't, then don't write a ticket to me for having tinted windows, and then you go home and drive off with, non-tinted windows. Thank you.
And
We're gonna check your
you
car.
can't have those unwritten, like, you can check mine. You can't
It's
have those
by
unwritten
double tinted.
rules where, like you said, like, this person gets punished and you don't. Like,
Right.
It's not right.
And also, the other thing that makes it distrust is, like, it just happened last week. It's funny, I was just at a DOT meeting, and within a half hour, and I know that, it's no secret, they all, Scientology, OSHA, whatever, they watch I know you don't, but they do. So they know where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I was there within a half hour after me speaking, all of a sudden, they had 3 cop cars with, I think, 5 officers, because it was was the senior lead officer, go to to enforce the red zone. I was there talking about the red zone. I was saying it's a fake red zone. It's not real. They painted it themselves, I believe, proved that it's real because there's no proof. And within a half hour, they had 6 officers, telling the protester parked there to move, that they were enforcing the red zone. Now, how often does LAPD, let's be honest, enforce red zone and parking? We know for when there's no parade, there's no nothing, huh?
2 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
To that one, typically try to leave that stuff to DOT. I do know, I get this on Hollywood Boulevard all the time, usually related to Club Nightlife. There's complaints from the businesses regarding, red zone parking. So you get people that will park and then they kind of loiter. So there's an issue with loitering and around some of the food trucks and other things. So it usually happens due to complaint related to something else. So, and that's usually coming from, again, like community contacts or not. So I don't know what was going on in that particular situation, but
Nothing.
you're not, like, your assessment of, you know, LAPD isn't typically out there just randomly enforcing parking that's valid, that's a valid.
Right. Well, it was a favoritism for Scientology. It was doing them a favor.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay,
I
that's
don't know, sorry.
I get it.
Any other comments or questions for LAPD? Okay, anything online? Nope, thank you so much. We're gonna go back to Elise, she said she was ready for us. Oh,
Do you wanna,
No, I can just,
can we, do we have time?
What, yes, I mean,
Carbon on Wilcox.
The what?
Car bomb that's being investigated on Wilcox
Oh, I just didn't hear about that. What was that?
2 nights ago.
That guy didn't make the warning report. So if it was significant, it probably would have been, but,
It was
Please, we get it out there, you know.
There was.
Yep, they were pissed.
The car literally blew up. It was parked, there was no one in it, they just found it.
Nothing's good, but they're gonna have more police presence.
oh, somebody, okay, so somebody, it was an arson.
It wasn't arson.
It was an arson.
It wasn't a car bomb.
No, it wasn't a car bomb. No,
Okay.
it was an arson, somebody walked by and tossed something lit inside the window. That was a fact. It was an arson.
There's a lot of arson.
Do we know, did that one,
'Cause apparently the-
over here off of Vine Street ever get caught?
I don't know. So the one question with arson, I know, this is my understanding from what I've heard from the fire department, for it to be arson, like, there's those things that we all know, but you can't prove. You know what I mean? So that's a big deal.
Where have I heard
And
that before?
there's a million things out there where it seems like all the police and nobody's doing anything about it, like, we all know, it's like, yeah, we do all know, but we can't prove. And so lots of times the thing with arson is, you have to be able to prove, you have to prove how it started, and you have to figure out, you know, they have to, like, lay all these things out. And sometimes that stuff's gonna come in, whether it's follow-up, and that's where it's more like an investigative thing, where you get as much as you can at the time, but it's gonna be the follow-up that's gonna actually nail in the proof that gets you. It's like, you can make an arrest, but then, you have to charge them within 48 hours, and if you don't even have any of the evidence to say this person, you don't even have the evidence to say how this fire started yet. Like, you know,
I submitted the video footage. It was literally in my alley, and he, like, on video, goes up,
Yeah.
lights it.
and so that's something, that's a little different, you know what I mean, but I'm just saying, like, and so if he's there at the time, like, he was there at the time
Rand
when
just
they came,
walked by.
No,
well, then they probably still have something for, now it's just a case of identifying and, you know, again, you submit, after the fact, you usually identify, write up, submit, and then, present to the district attorney, or
Rand.
they reject to the city attorney's office.
Got what Tallman and Rand.
Get a warrant, you go on arrest. And then sometimes you have the ones where, especially if it's a homeless person, you have a warrant, or you have a flyer out, that person disappears for a while. So you just don't see them, so. All those things could be pending.
Has the department talked about the new district?
Yeah, I already spoke. I won't be able to bring up
And,
anymore.
any more
But there's the police commission meeting tomorrow.
for crimes? You talked about property.
Yeah,
tax,
we'll
but-
see, like, I mean, from what they, Gasco said, there were some things he wasn't gonna file, and then I still don't really know everything that, Hockman, said he was gonna do differently, without getting into all the weeds. I think his
No way,
approach
no
was
way.
gonna be different, you know, much different. Once he gets in place
Thank you, Renee.
and he
Yeah, Rand,
starts,
heck no.
implementing his policies, we'll see. Either way, though,
Yeah,
like,
this is for,
no matter what,
the
our
center.
job was, like, you don't get to decide either way, so it's like, well, this is what we have, and this is what we'll deal with, so we present whatever we have and try to get the best out of it, that doesn't really change that much. We'll just see how it changes results wise.
Cool, any other questions?
White and Rand.
Cool, I'm gonna let you go, thank you so much. Can we get Elaine back from C13? She said
yeah,
she
she's
was.
actually off.
Oh, she said she was back on. Oh, okay. That's good. In that case, am here, sorry, oh, I am here.
Sometimes they.
Under what?
What James? Yeah, you're right that I don't see.
Our building would have.
Just don't want to raise your hand.
Oh, raising your hand. You probably hear us. You probably hear us.
That's funny, Rose, but
There you go, she raised her hand. Oh.
I will be
I'll
getting.
let you. All right, we see you.
I have the better mic.
After
Just
that.
waiting to learn how to use it.
Thanks a lot. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can
It's done
hear
the first.
you.
It's a different-
Oh, I
it's a
did,
different name.
yeah. It is a different name because I am not on my computer. My computer is getting fixed. So let me go ahead and,
No one really sees it, well, I guess they see it up too, but no one sees it here, because we have the agenda up on the screen, as you may see. But yeah,
apologies for that. I don't have my computer is getting fixed. So I have to use somebody else's computer. I don't know, I can't put on my camera on this, but that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't let me turn on the camera, it just lets me do the.
I'm sorry, because they don't use microphones, they should.
Okay, sorry about that. Is it better if I go into my phone, to my work phone, that way you can have my name on it? Just for
yeah, you can
transparency.
just go ahead, it's all good. You
Yeah,
can-
just for transparency matters. So let me get back on. Let me go ahead and join through my phone, so give me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everyone.
No worries.
All I do.
Other than CD15 and done, I don't think we have anybody else. Oh, okay, I'm gonna say see you. Okay, hi. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Hi everyone, Sanae Gonzalez from CD13. I know I wasn't able to join last week, I had a community event. And then if anybody has tried to reach out with me the last couple of weeks, I've sort of been like in and out sick. So apologies anybody trying to get to me. I know earlier on, somebody was talking about an arson around like, let me see, I got flagged an arson situation, with potential arson. I'm just waiting to hear back from LAFD. I hope to hear from them soon. I think the arson that was talking about was around the area of Santa Monica Boulevard, around El Centro and Vines. So it was kind of like the areas that I got flagged by a constituent in that area. In regards to our office, part of our legislative update is in a joint effort with CD1 and I believe CD4. We did the law of San Angeles as a censoring city, meaning that no city resources, employees, property taxpayer money may be used to carry out immigration enforcement investigation, arrest, transfer for our administrative code. So that happened in the week of 11/21. Another sort of council motions introduced that I feel that will be notable, especially for folks out in the district, is the council member, I believe it was, 1 second, was it?
Who finds it?
It was hold on, I have it here. Oh, so one of the council motions that were introduced was through city civics that passed BSL 98 report back and an overview about street lighting outages occurring throughout the entire city. And then the other one that was moved through council this week was to instruct the department on the special events. So this requires a report back on the overview of the city's special events permit application process and recs. Because I know there's been several complaints about the pure street services and like how people go through our special events. So those are two important ones that were introduced.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's,
Do you have proof of that?
that's pretty much it on
No, I'm talking
our
about Yvonne. Do you have
and,
proof?
that happened on the list stuff. We did have a turkey giveaway last week. We were able to feed about 1,200 families with 3 turkeys for
Because I'm about to bring that up
Thanksgiving.
if you.
And that's
Yeah, he's
on
not.
mine, that's it.
He's over there.
Have there been any updates on the noise from the clubs that are going till 2 AM every day?
You know what, I personally don't have an update, there's, noise enforcement falls onto LAPD, and I know LAPD has a very small team when it comes to noise enforcement. I mean, the best that I could do is, I know I have issues with Academy LA, and all the hookah bars and some of those things, like the hotels and all that with the two, but us as an office, we don't enforce those complaints. The best that I can do is sort of ask maybe our advice team if they could go in there and like have folks kind of chime in, and that's what I did with one club, which was Academy LA.
Okay, because there's like a 150 unit complex that's right nestled between the Hollywood hookah, which
Yeah.
has been okay, but Desert 5 spot that karaoke's till 2 AM.
Well,
is only
each
till 11
business would
PM.
pay towards it.
You don't, those a lot of those things, unfortunately, I try my best to like figure out what I can do, but me, like, us as an office, I can't go in there and enforce, right? I think my best strategy, and Brian White could probably as well kind of chime in on this and what are the best ways to do with noise enforcement. A lot of the time, I do know that PD is responsive and the time that they could get there. Just a lot of the times what ends up happening is that PD shows up, they lower down the music, and then PD, and then they go again. And it's sort of that back and forth that we hit. And I know that's something that PD has always expressed about noise enforcement. It's just so hard. It's just a little bit hard for us to, because there's just so much. Like I can tell you that I see your complaints, I hear you and your frustration.
If their entitlement goes till 11 PM and they've got music on at 1 AM, shouldn't it just be cited and fined on the spot? Like, I don't understand what the.
I personally don't, I'm not the one that's gonna go out there and fine. Our office won't be able to do that. That falls on their LAPD who has a noise enforcement and that you can find online. It literally says that LAPD has to do this to enforce.
Officer Brian White's here to respond.
I have to double check, I think they have outdoor privileges to midnight, and then from midnight to 2, they're supposed to be inside. They have an enclosed portion up on top. I think there's an issue sometimes with the doors open, so, like, if they pop them open, then it becomes, then it's like, now it's not enclosed. They're supposed to keep them closed. So, that's some of the, sometimes that's a conversation, it's like you get new, it just never ends. This new manager knew this or that, or they just need another reminder, or,
But they should be ending at midnight?
so again, they can have outdoor at midnight, till midnight. And I have to double check, because each one's different, and I think this is the way it worked. But from midnight to 2, they can go inside, it's still on the rooftop, but it's an inside enclosed portion.
So I have video of a guy at 2:14 AM wasted singing Britney Spears from the top of his lungs. At
Yes.
Desert 5 spot.
Yeah, so that-
Wait, I mean, it's, I think it's employees at this point that are just up there singing the same 10 songs all night long.
Well, and that's the point where, I know although I think they may need to change it. I know the owner, the management for their what they call it, the beverage and stuff, they basically run all their restaurants for the whole entire complex. So, and that's conversations we've had, don't be that problem, because you have some other neighbors that are, let them be the issue, not you. They're like, oh yeah, that's not us, that's not us. And then, of course, they're not there at 2 AM, it's some manager, so.
Yeah.
That, if it needs to be another conversation, and try to, when we gain compliance, it works better than honestly, the concept of revoking a permit or having it modified, is more challenging than ever. It took me 3 years to get Crazy Girls and the city still hasn't,
I mean, we had residents up there booing them at one point, and they just turned it up louder.
yeah, that's not cool.
It's absurd.
We should do I do wanna come back to your apartment, that or do like an agenda item.
Okay.
It's probably too much to.
Sorry, I got completely excited.
Nice, and that's it, right? So anything else from anybody about T13? And yes, students?
Yes, hi. I'd like an update on, for the emails I've sent and you've responded about the two girls that tried to escape from the Blue Building for a wellness check, because everyone is wondering if they are okay. And also for the planters that I know the city has given citations and demanded that they remove them and remove the thorny vegetation, which a dog did get scratched by the other day. And there's their own people can't easily get through the planters, including people with walking canes. Now, it's to the point where they are making them closer, and they actually planted poinsettias in them, and even though they're under order to remove them. Is the councilman able to do anything, or is he just, well, I can't control them, let them do what they want?
So regarding, it's kind of, it's a little bit, I couldn't really hear the first one, they kind of cut off, but on the second one regarding planters, where are the planters that you have concerns in? Because I have, there's planters around the district, but planters should be.
You guys should know this by now. Yeah, well, it's not, it is the other, it's Council 13, that's why I'm asking you, even though it's entirety of L. Ron Hubbard Way and 2 blocks of Fountain.
Oh, it's on the other side. You know what, okay, so with planters, if they got the permit for planters to get them.
Nope.
And then they're going through an art permit. I won't personally know, if, I don't have something in my system that lets me know they're getting an art permit. That falls onto the Bureau of Engineering. So if they went into and they got an art permit, I mean,
They didn't.
that's a permit that is legally able to have people put planters on the public right of way, and there's
Correct.
rules and regulations on what dictates yes and what could be legal. I'm not here if the way that it works is if you see a planter and you are concerned that it may not be in compliance, there is a protocol that everybody has to follow, and that is through the 301 request. The 301 request, if you file a complaint with 301, it will gear it to an inspector from Bureau of Street Services, and the Bureau of Street Services will be the inspector from Bureau of Street Services will be the one to go ahead and look into if the person or the business did get an art permit or not.
They don't have an R permit, and I've go to every single city council meeting, and you guys are very well aware of who I am and what this is about. It's not, they don't have an R permit, it's not ADA compliant, But thank you anyway.
And then I understand, and that's where Bureau of Engineering comes in and works with the person submitting the art permit.
They didn't submit the R permit, it's been submitted to the city attorney for enforcement, for them to remove it.
I don't have an update on that, so I really can't say, but I'm just talking about the general processes that we would go to get an art permit.
Yeah, I didn't ask for general, but thank you.
Any questions for Steve?
Actually, I had one I forgot about. Anais, last time you told us about the street lights, can you give us an update on that? Or maybe if I missed it, that's fine. No need to forget.
She has heard of it. I've come here so many times.
We're still having issues with our streetlights, so I won't completely be like, yes, we have an update. I just mentioned earlier that there is a legislative motion that was moved by Council District 6 about having BSL and ITA report back with an overview of street lighting outages that occur throughout the city. There's so many things that come into play with this, and unfortunately, we are aware that streetlights is a big issue. You know, and where the city is trying to figure out better ways that we can
Hugo's
continue
staff
giving
member.
maintenance to these
They
in a
definitely,
timely
she
manner.
definitely knows.
Part of the issue is that because there's just so much free lighting,
Yeah, of course.
it's a matter of like how the city has been able to maintain them over the years. And, you know, now we suffer with issues such as like copper wire there, that just makes a lot of this backlog bigger than we want it to. I don't have any concrete update on like what is being done, other than I am always on these calls with BSL every other month to let them know about our outages in our district. The council member has given discretionary funds. The first round of discretionary funds that we did give, most of all the Hollywood streetlights were fixed using that discretionary fund. I believe, I don't wanna give a full-on promise, but we are looking at ways again to use discretionary funds to again help out with the outages in the district. But I continue to reiterate to all my constituency and to all my stakeholders, if you do have a lighting that is out, blocks that are out, I do need, and I can't stress this more enough, I do need the 301 request.
Exactly.
Because I have a list that
Nobody
I share
trusts
with BSL, and then all council offices share with BSL.
Yeah,
Where
word
we
salad.
go in there, we put the 301 request, and that is how they
Good night,
are
Rose Petal. Thanks for coming.
going over our lights in our
She knows
district.
exactly what's going on.
And what I do in these meetings, I
This
just
is called
reiterate to the
gaslighting.
department, like, hey, like, I have streetlights, I know I have streetlights on Person that need to be fixed.
I
And so what I
don't
do
speak
is
French.
I
I wish I
reiterate to them,
did.
like, hey guys, like, it's been 2 months and these lights haven't been addressed, like, can you please help? It's sort of what we do and what we have to do in pushing, but, you know, it's this thing that we continue working on. I do have to say though, that streetlights is something that all council members agree on, which is good.
She's from council
In the
district.
sense of like,
Hugo's
all
office.
council members know that this is such a big citywide issue, and all council members are working to better amend this and make this work better, but with our council office, I do wanna see that the council member is looking again to use discretionary funds to fund again, streetlights being fixed in our area.
Would you say that, the street lighting affects worse the underprivileged parts of the community?
Yes, so it's part of this motion that CD6 introduced.
She says she didn't hear about my question about the
figuring
girls.
that out. I used to work in Council District 11, and a lot of my times is, a lot of those stakeholders, because they're a lot more, I don't wanna say they're more knowledgeable, because they kinda just know how to address the system more better, because they are a little bit more engaged, they're a little bit more politically engaged, they're a little bit, they have perhaps more time to be like this. They are the ones who generally tend to get that immediate attention because of how organized and sort of things. What happens in a lot of the times of our underprivileged communities, that we understand that a lot of our underprivileged communities are, working during the day. By the time they get home, they are not gonna address the 301 request. Our office is very well aware. Our office is very aware that the 301 system is not as tech friendly for a lot of our stakeholders and neighbors. So if I'm not mistaken, what this council motion is doing is having a review and audit on that.
I have a question. So what changes when you have discretionary funds to throw at the problem? Like, how is it resolved so quickly? Do you guys like pay a private entity to come in with those?
No, we don't pay a private entity. Basically what we do is we give the department money. And then department money then sort of kind of like, I wanna say, what's the best word? When we give discretionary fund, we're giving discretion. Basically what we do is just like a transfer of funds to the other department. And that department, so we transfer money from our discretionary money fund, we give it to the department. and then the department is gonna, because they got that extra money, from our office,
I wouldn't
that
doubt
means
it.
that they're
August.
gonna be able to
See
pay
it
more
being
overtime for specific teams who are
So the
dressed
department
or.
is underfunded, basically, long story short.
The
First of all, I'll
department,
answer even more clearly for you.
Thank you.
It just, and I don't know, again, maybe just full naivety, right? But what it seems like is that the Department of, what is it, BSS, the Bureau of Street Services?
BSL.
Which one?
BSL.
Oh,
BSL.
BSL, yeah, so Bureau of Street Lighting,
Not the
they
not the
get a
council
certain amount of money
here,
every year
but
from
the
our city budget.
elected
that they're
officials,
able to spend
absolutely,
on.
their reps,
They
absolutely.
go out and unfortunately
LAPD for
appropriate the
sure.
funds into the more privileged
It's
communities.
okay, because
because
now
that's the people
these
we're
guys are
screaming
starting to
at,
hear
while
it.
discriminating
They never heard
against the
stuff
underprivileged
before.
communities. And whenever one of the underprivileged communities has to cough up money from its own already underprivileged bank, right, or funds, and they pay, that's basically, now they finally go out and do their job. So effectively, if you don't, they just happen to exist and not be helpful unless you're paying for the help.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So might as well give it to the private sector, but that's a conversation for another day.
So,
Right.
I don't wanna get too much into the weeds, because unfortunately I'm not the one addressing budgeting in this area, I gotta work with what I have, and this is what I have. Unfortunately, I don't, wish things could be very different, but again, we, as an office, to sort of supplement that and to try to, address these issues that I know matter, that need to be fixed in the immediate, we have allocated our discretionary fund to fix these streetlights, and we're looking to do it again.
Can I just say, like, there's been a few women sexually assaulted outside of the post office area. I mean, you're thinking just streetlights, but it really is like an issue, especially I mean, I don't remember, I'm sorry. I'll let
No, and you know what, to
You're
be
right.
fair, in these, meetings that we have with Bureau of Street Lighting, those are the things
She's
that,
good too. Good.
I don't wanna say that it's just me addressing them, but it's like everybody in the council offices, and like, everybody in those council offices, it's a meeting.
I don't know, I'm just frustrated. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the thing that I would have to say that every council office, every field office agrees on, about this, and, sometimes, like, I'll be in the meetings and I'll hear it all the time, like, no, we need the lighting because of this, and this and that. Yeah, but,
Yes,
to be fair,
same
we have allocated our discretionary funds, to fix these streetlights.
Alright, cool.
And they're not gonna get fixed.
Let's close out CB 13.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, she's pissed.
Erica, you wanna come up? This is Empower LA, Erica. And then,
By the way, the director of the Bureau of Street Lighting, just so you know, $365,000 salary, 2022.
Oh my.
Okay, so our director of the Bureau of Street Lighting is making more than a medical professional.
Good luck with that.
Hey everyone, happy Monday. Again, my name is Erica Dowdy. I'm the Neighborhood Empowerment Advocate for the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council, as well as for 7 other neighborhood councils throughout the city. I'll be brief, but as you've heard me announce before, we do have our Empower LA Youth Conference coming up, so I have a couple of flyers here for the board, as well as a few in the back. Again, I won't talk too into depth on this, but the deadline to apply is going to be December 20th. The event itself is scheduled to be on February 22nd. That is a Saturday, so please get the word out if you know someone, your kids, your niece, your friends, child, whatnot, So that's that. The second thing I wanted to talk about is pertains a little bit to the board that may impact the community. As you all know, the neighborhood council system does have an election, and so for this board, our election date is April 15th. And recently, you may have received emails from both our department as well as from the city clerk's office, letting you know, like, hey, you may have it in your bylaws to have an election, but we're giving you an opportunity to hold a selection instead, if that is what is of interest to the board. So I've gotten a lot of questions. How is an election different from a selection? What does that look like, X, Y, and Z? So instead of standing up here, talking it through, and then hoping something sticks, I printed out a few flyers here. They're not flyers, but more so documents. You can take a look at them. So one of the documents is gonna be a comparison chart of what is the difference between an election and a selection.
We just saw
Very
it-
straightforward. What was that?
We just saw it happen in our previous election,
Oh, okay,
with the selection of Harris.
okay. This might look a little bit different, but anyways, you have that chart there that shows the comparison, but also I've provided you the stipulation worksheet. So that would give you more insight of what the selection process looks like administratively. So you see the stipulation form, and then on the back of that is an outreach plan that is required if the board decides to go the selection route. With that being said, the city clerk's office is asking the board to make a decision by December 6th if you want to change from an election to a selection. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. You have this information. That's right.
Next week.
So
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah. Do we know who's up on the board? Who's up for a re-election or selection, reselection or re-election?
Election or
Yeah.
meeting if you need
Can I
to.
just ask a couple pros and cons? If I'm not mistaken, an election would cost more of our funding than a selection, right? Because an election would have more outreach, or they both have the same equal amount of outreach?
It depends because
She's from the Department
with
of
an
Neighborhood
election, as you know, the department is tasked with promoting the elections. And then, of course, we leave it up to the neighborhood councils to kind of tailor that to whatever you see fits best. So I think in the past, Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council did their own canvassing, but our department also canvassed as well. So you have our support in terms of promoting the elections, and then also the city clerk's office handles all of the administrative stuff. They'll send you a sheet of like, with some general questions, locations and whatnot, but and then we leave it up to them to kind of vet through the candidates, to schedule those translation services of what we need. With the selection, it's more hands-on for the board. And again, I think in summary, from what I know, the main differences are is that in itself. A selection would be more hands-on, more responsibility for the neighborhood council to do the promotion, to do the administrative work. And then also with the selection process, it can look somewhat like a town hall where people are voting for the candidates, but there's no private votes. Everyone would know who voted for who in that setting. So I would say those are probably the biggest differences.
Oh, so it's more like a caucus?
But then it seems like your voter experience, voting takes place on a ballot delivered via USPS mail.
Right. And the selection would be what, all of us getting together
Voting
and
takes
be
place
like,
in person.
you're with us.
Yeah, okay, gotcha, so election is you get it in the mail, a selection is voting takes place in person at a town hall.
Well, and that's only because, right, for this year, due to the budget constraints, the city clerk's office said that we're only doing vote by mail. So yes, this election process will be vote by mail, and then, of course, as I said, the difference with the selection.
Oh, only by mail,
And who-
before we
that's
have
right,
In
mail.
person. So who's paying for the stamps and the mailers? Our CHNC or the Parallel?
If we go the election route, it is, from what I heard, the city clerk's office will provide
Okay,
those
so we don't lose
envelopes.
money. My only question is like, we have like 30,000 a year, which used to be higher, like,
Right.
I would love to give it out to like NPGs or like our events. So my only question in like the differences is like, how much is it gonna cost us as a difference? But I'm understanding as it's gonna be the same, or, because the town hall doesn't really cost us much either.
But the caucus isn't election by the community, it's election by the board.
That's right.
Oh, it's
that's the
election by the
difference.
board.
Yeah.
But did you
So-
say people vote, the people don't vote in the audience that are in the town hall?
Oh, no, yes, they do
Yes.
vote.
Sorry,
Yes.
they vote.
Okay.
So I'm sorry,
But they didn't
so,
show up.
But
so,
it's called selection though.
that's right, it's called selection.
By the people in
instead of election.
attendance, right?
That's right.
So Sean, it's like a party, right? And the folks in the audience vote versus mail-in, right?
That's right.
Got it.
Mhm.
Because in the past, there was like a ballot, there was a ballot here, and people come, remember that?
Yes.
So that part's taken out, which, I don't know if we could do mail in the past. We did mail in the past, right? Before it was both mail and in person.
That's
So
right.
we're taking out the in-person, it's either mail or this town hall idea.
Selection process.
If it's a selection, they're responsible for all the expenses. If it's an election through mail, then the city clerk's office is
That's right.
responsible. So it costs us more.
To do selection.
And that, well, it really depends, right, because if the board plans on, I would say yes, because of the responsibility that falls on the board, that could look a little bit more expensive. But if you decide to go the election route and you plan on hosting an event, you're gonna pay for camps and you're gonna do X, Y, and Z, hypothetically, that can turn out to be the same cost. Not to mention, I mean, I would say for us to look back on what we allocated, in our administrative packet, of course, we can update that, but I guess I would start there.
So, yeah, regarding the documentation requirements based on the board seat eligibility, that's for candidates, okay, but as far as voting goes, we would know that they're stakeholders because they got a letter in the mail, and, or we would know they're stakeholders because there's some sort of proof that they provide for being at the town hall.
Well, if we go the election or selection route,
Selection.
Selection, like, how do we know the people here are not like from a different
the
place?
board would have to,
Ask for
my
it.
understanding, that would be a part of the administrative process that is typically taken care of by the city clerk's office. So my understanding is that this would be up to the board, and I think it alludes to meeting a neutral third party. That would probably be a part of that process, and vetting to make sure, so.
That would verify people.
It's totally not the move. Election for sure.
Election, I
It
think.
doesn't even sound democratic, I just don't like it.
It sounds like a lot of work.
Selection.
But
Who shall be the new emperor of Central Hollywood?
Well, I mean,
You guys like this?
right, but it also sounds like, I mean, ultimately, we want as many people participating as possible.
So
And
mail.
it seems like mail is what, because if we tried our best effort to make an announcement, say, everybody
Yeah,
come tonight, because we're gonna vote, we're gonna get less than considered tonight, so let's.
And then we have to go through a selection awkward process, of like show me your ID or some sort of proof
Yeah.
of bill. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think that really was helpful. Maybe we could discuss it over, board comments and we let them like, or do we have to make a vote on it officially?
Officially, the board.
As a board, or we email clerk ourselves?
No, they would ask, an email was sent out to the board, so
Yeah.
to let us know, so I think they would ask for, maybe a
Everyone's.
BAC?
Oh, okay, you want
Oh,
the BAC?
no, I
Or does like everybody respond to that individually?
No, it would be, it would be a board vote.
But how, well, December sixth is before our next meeting.
We can do a Zoom special?
So an email was sent, I think,
Yeah.
in October, late
We
October.
can't vote on
And
it today, right?
this is
It's
me
not-
just saying like, hey, in case you missed it, here's the document.
Well, we don't, I think they'll, unless we're
I think we'll do an election.
Or like,
if we don't choose anything, we're automatically going towards an election.
That's
Oh,
right.
there you go.
Yeah. So a vote is only, right, because it already says that we're doing an election for our bylaws.
So
A vote
vote
on
on
which-
election, yeah, think about it.
What's the neighborhood board selection? Who are these
Yeah,
nominees?
I'm curious, what is the benefit of this election?
Somebody asked for this?
Well,
I really got out of all that.
I think there's a couple of neighborhood councils that are.
I like being on this side.
Right out of the 99 NCs, I think maybe there's 3 that do that.
Okay.
But I think they just find it, they already have this all set up. Per their bylaws, they've done this a few times, and so they're already
Actually,
set
I know
up this
she's very
process.
nice.
They feel like it's better in person. I know it'll vary. Some are doing a town hall, others are doing kind of vote by mail, which
Yeah,
is similar
I
to
wanna
the
be on this
election, but
side.
again, it's more kind
Because
of
if I'm on
the
that
NC
side,
if they want
I would have to be,
take on the
neutral.
responsibility of
And I would have to
all the
recuse
promotions,
myself
all of the
if
administration.
anything came
But
up.
the default is that one though, so we don't.
I'd rather be here and book them.
Fabulous. Okay, well, that's that. Thank you for.
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Thanks, we will do nothing.
Yes.
Great discussion, everybody, we will do nothing.
Aaron, I have just a question.
Sure.
Right now, I was talking to one of the stakeholders and, talking about potentially like live streaming.
I've
these
been on
things.
that side.
How do other, well, I mean, we have this on live stream and stuff like that. but
I
do
like
you
being
want
on this
posting
side.
on like social media, like
Oh,
TikTok
we used
live
to do
streaming
that.
and stuff like
We
that?
used to do that on Facebook.
Do other neighborhood councils do that kind of stuff?
I can only speak for my NCs that I know
Sorry,
of.
I just like to see
don't know of
faces.
Any of my
But
NCs
this
that,
is-
like,
this is
live stream for like events. I know similar to CHNC, they have both a virtual option as well as an in-person. But are you speaking, when you talk about live streaming, are you thinking more of like events?
Twitch.
Are you thinking more
Yeah.
of
No,
just regular
just
promoting?
these meetings here right now, because we have, like, you have to, like,
Definitely.
Yeah, why not? We'll make it no money, we can charge money for meetings. No, but
Exclusive content.
in reality though, it's like, right now,
I like to see him, like, I
we
like
wanna
that.
get more feedback, right?
Right.
And so what's happening right now is
This is
that
fine too.
the limit to our attendees is based on
Whatever
the
works for
audience
you
that we
guys.
have. And also, AuditLA audience and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, if we can do like a live streaming, then we get to cross-platform, YouTube,
They're saying
TikTok,
hi to
all
you.
of them.
Yeah, that's the
And we
first
have
time.
our own live.
Before Zoom was a thing, I used to do like a
Okay, so
Facebook thing,
Zoom
but
trial.
nonsense.
Could we
No, I'm not trying to see
allocate funds for like the software?
It's free, just go Facebook Live.
Well.
I literally used to do that.
Yes, under
So if
Department
we're
of
gonna, like,
Neighborhood
stream, then we
Empowerment.
wanna stream across like a bunch of
No, not the,
platforms.
no, they're not, not the meeting isn't, but this neighborhood council is. Yep.
Well, then you're not down in your
Put it
neighborhood.
on the agenda.
We gotta
No,
put
I
it
already
in.
spent.
Anything else from Empower Island? Oh, should we do the t-shirt thing or not?
Yeah, so that was the last thing I was gonna share is that I'll let you ask the question,
And then you
okay?
provide the answer?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Alright, so if you were here at the last meeting, we gave away a free t-shirt so you cannot play it again. This is what it looks like. It is a CHNC, Central Valley Neighborhood Council.
Bring me one.
Heather gray, super soft like a pillowcase
Wow.
t-shirt. And to win this
Yeah, I
large,
did ask in there.
beautiful t-shirt, you have to answer this question or as close
For,
as.
what's his Hugo's office,
So
but,
the question was,
she's like, I didn't hear your question.
what year? Now, how old is the neighborhood council system? So give me a year. Wait, then you can't.
But the year that it started or how many years? Because now you're making me do math.
How many years, right?
Yeah, you're,
How many years is the neighborhood council? You know, there's 99 neighborhood councils.
25 years.
All right, you get a t-shirt.
Because I can't wear it, but.
Well deserved.
Oh.
All right, there we go. Thanks.
I feel like she knew that so well.
I know a thing or two
On
about.
the date of the founding,
1999, that's why.
yeah, answer that. But on that note, I will share with the board, again, you may have received an email about this also, but because we are reaching our 25 years mark this year, the department is hosting the event on December 13th for neighborhood council board members to show up to City Hall and just be celebrated. So they are asking everyone to RSVP if you're
Oh, yeah.
interested. You'll have
Like a
that in
company
the
now.
link that I send you.
isn't it City Hall again at the top there? Like
I don't know
last
if it's
year?
gonna be in the Tom Bradley room, but it's gonna be at City Hall.
They had this party for Empower LA, it was in City Hall, it was at the top, like all the way at the top, where you get like redondo views of like the city. I never even knew that room existed, but Empower LA had the hookup.
You can go up there. I go up there all the time.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's lovely, yeah. It's to the public, yeah.
So anyways, that's all that I have.
If you can go up there, you can complain straight from the top of the.
Scream, have a karaoke night.
You can.
Okay, cool. And then, just the last thing, it's on the agenda, Measure G, public comment is gonna be tomorrow, November 26th, at around, the meeting starts at 9:30, but, public comment will be open around 10 a.m. at the Kenneth Hahn Hall of Administration, 500
Neighborhood
West
council
Temple.
meeting.
There's a link if y'all wanna participate, and if you're asking yourself, what is Measure G?
Yes.
Well, we all voted on it in this
that's
past
a council.
November, election, but what it is this, so the county supervisors, expansion. So when, the county supervisors came about in 1912, Los Angeles County was 500,000, people, stakeholders. Well, today it's like 10 million, right? We're the biggest county, in California. So the question being is,
That's
should
funny,
the number
Nadia.
of
That's
county
hilarious.
supervisors increase? So, Voting voted yes, right? It was a 51 to 48 margin, not that much of a yes, but nonetheless a yes. And so the question is like, how do we go about this? Like, was there an ethics committee? Like, is there an executive, that's gonna be elected? So it's a reaffirmation of a county supervisor department. So if you'd like to make a public
You didn't take public comment for,
oh, for Erica?
yeah,
Oh, okay, good. Just give me just finish this one.
Sure,
sentence,
sorry.
And then we can go, sorry about that.
no worries.
Yeah, so it's on your agenda. If y'all click the link, you can kind of see, once again, the address, the time, if you want to make a comment. And yeah, Measure G, so.
Yeah, it's way too small for me.
Any questions on this one? Cool. All right, Erica, sorry about that.
Sorry, Erica.
That's right.
I was waiting for okay,
See you.
just like, if you guys, like, well, first of all, I'd like to get a copy of the youth thing, because there's a youth I want to send. But if there's somebody who wants to run for the board, because this one's a little bit different. Most boards I've ever known is like the whole board comes up for reelection, but,
Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain, like, how many seats? Because if there's somebody who is interested in running, and what the next steps are for this board in particular, as far as like dates when they have to apply, and like, and is it the same way where you have to order the people would have to order their ballot and stuff like it? They don't just send it out, you have to order it, and then I guess they're going to go with the election, so then what has to be, can you just explain more for somebody who might be interested?
Sure, I think I'll start by saying that the city clerk's office election division does have their webpage we have a regional timeline. For CHNC, we're Region 5, and so which is why we have a set election date for April 15th. In terms of the timeline for that region, I don't have that on top of my head, and I'm not exaggerating. This is probably like 2 sheets of different dates. We talk about candidate filing opening, when it closes, when you can request your ballot, in ballot or whatnot. So I don't have that information in front of me right now. I do have it on my laptop, so I'm happy to share that with you via email. But so that's that. But again, if you're looking for some immediate information, again, type into Google neighborhood council, city clerk's office elections, and that information will be readily there available. In terms of the boards and the seats up, that is also something that I don't know off the top of my head, but to Alvina's point, this is a staggered board, so not everyone's gonna be up, not everyone's seat is gonna be up for election, there's gonna be selected seats, and so, again, I can get that information.
Yeah, I'd like to know, because but, so it's area for, because I'll be honest, the Dunn website's very confusing when it comes to this. And it just has a whole bunch of, if your district, like with zone 1 or whatever the zones are, and it doesn't say which neighborhood councils are within which zone, so it's very confusing.
Yeah, there's 2 separate documents, that I shared with the board, but I can also share with you.
I appreciate it.
There's the regional timeline, and then there's the election timeline that details out the days for when someone can file their candidate form and whatnot, so.
Okay, thank you, Erica, appreciate it.
Any other questions for Caroline? Okay, if not, we're gonna go into the plum. Thank you all from the representatives.
Okay, guys.
It went longer, but it's so nice to have our reps in-house or online, so we can ask points.
Oh, thank you, thanks. And this one wants to.
So could you pull up the, PDF?
Okay, guys. I'm gonna call it quits, because I don't want to really stay for Plum. I will tell you. Okay, but when I go. Yeah, because I just wanted, guys, I'm gonna go, because I need to. Wait.
My name is Margaret Taylor of AuditLA, representing the applicant in this case, which is Bristol Farms. And I know, appreciate you guys.
Bristol Farms.
Volunteer work that you do, so we are here at your.
And because yeah, like, sorry guys, I just want to make, like, if there's anyone that like wants to, because it's a different way, but I have someone that wants to possibly do the youth thing, and then I have I know someone who may want to run for, I'm not 100% sure, but I just wanted, so if you can get, yeah, because it was just confusing and I didn't know how to.
Yeah, like you said, every NC is different. And whoever that tenant is required to.
All right.
To.
Thank you. Yeah, I know people are like, because I'm a stakeholder, I was like, no, I don't want, I'm done with that. I like being on this side better. All right, thank you. All right, have a good, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks.
Contemplated in the master conditional use permit, proposed hours of operation.
Sorry.
12 a.m. daily.
Bye, guys.
1,141 square feet.
Okay, guys.
I'll
Hey,
get the
Tanja.
door.
All right, guys, so I am going to, are we being swatted? Okay, guys, I'm gonna get off because I have the police thing and I have the police commission in the morning and I have to run and do errands and stuff, so hopefully I got everything. Okay. Hopefully we got everything said. Nothing else is like really needed for me. Good luck, Sunshine. Bye, Sunshine. Can somebody type in bye, that audit says bye to Sunshine in the group? I didn't want to yell out anything because he won't hear me. And I know he's just reading it, but he can't hear it. So if somebody would be kind enough to say, Happy Thanksgiving, Sunshine. How about that? Thank you, Julie. Good night, guys. Yeah, I'm going to get off because I'm going to run. I have to run some errands, like get some stuff done, and still try to get to bed at a half-decent hour for tomorrow. If worse comes to worse, I may have to, I don't know. I want to go in person, but it's so close to Thanksgiving, I may have to do it just on Zoom. So I don't know yet, but I'm glad we got to see this. Glad I got to see Sunshine and the crew. He's asking good questions. But, so I'm going to get off and see you soon. Can you tell them Happy Thanksgiving? And I wish everyone here a Happy Thanksgiving, and to the board too. I wish everyone a Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, thank you guys. And thank you for everything. Talk to you soon, guys.